Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and guests, to this meeting of online presenters. It's now begun. We don't have any guests today, but in order to be a member of our club, you must be a current or former active Toastmasters International member and have completed at least 6 Toastmasters official speeches, or alternately, if you have subsequent relevant presentation experience, you may apply for membership after demonstrating your ability in a 2 to 3 minute speech delivered during one of our club meetings. All requests for membership are subject to approval by the members of our club. If you have not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it shows your name and role if you have one. Right-click and select Rename to do so. We have members and guests from many countries throughout the world. Thus, as a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Today, we do make a bit of an exception because we are themed. But please note that we will be recording this meeting and your video and audio contribution may be used for club marketing purposes. Also, please remain muted when you are not speaking. Coming to the virtual space, hopefully with an arg or two, or maybe a few dad jokes on where pirates came from. I heard that he is on a cruise. Yes, in theme with pirates. Talking about, get this, pirates. Let's see how much of that treasure chest of knowledge will be shared today. Help me to welcome our president, Graham Carnes.
Thank you, Madam Sergeant at Arms, Army Hearties, and welcome along to this, our meeting on International Talk Like a Pirate Day. And I'm not going to do that anymore because I really can't. But welcome, everybody. My name is Graham Cairns and I'm the president of this club. I'd like to welcome everybody, both here physically and online today, and those who might be watching the replay. This is an interesting club. It's all about presenting online. Well, the name is on the tin. Online presenters. What we're going to see today is, I hope, lots of excitement, lots of fun, and even some terrible dad jokes. We've had a reminder already from the treasurer, but in case you missed it, please make sure that you pay your membership because, well, we want you to remain a member of this club. And if you don't pay up by the end of September, then you lose access to pathways, and that would be a terrible, terrible thing. And so I'd make you walk the plank. No, seriously, thanks, everybody. I'm glad to be back. I've been away for 3 weeks gallivanting around Southeast Asia, but I'm back for, I don't know, a month and a half or so before I go off on another cruise. Life is terrible, isn't it? Now, let me hand control of the meeting to our Toastmaster of the day. It's him, he with the hook. It's Toastmaster of the day, Jim Barber.
Thank you, Mr. President, my fellow Toastmasters. I'm Jim Barber. I'm your Toastmaster of the evening. First, an explanation of why, got to get rid of this eye patch, why we're having Talk Like a Pirate, why everybody's talking like pirates. Today, for some of our members, several of our members, it is International Talk Like a Pirate Day. For the rest of our members, it will shortly be International Talk Like a Pirate Day. So when I was going to be Toastmaster, I figured that was kind of a natural thing. I realized we've done this a whole bunch of times, like never. So anyway, we're going to give that a shot tonight. Everybody is encouraged to. You've already dressed like pirates. If you want to talk like pirates too, shiver me timbers, that would be great. Let's get started with the different roles this evening, and let's see if I got them all straight. If I didn't, you can have me walk the plank. Before I do that, though, we have a tip of the day, and let's go ahead and move forward with that. Then we can move toward the speaking areas. So David Carr is providing our tip this evening. David, are you ready to go?
I am, sir.
Then take it away.
What I wanted to show you is a new tool that's available on the dashboard of our website that some of you got messages that were generated using this thing today. And a bunch of you clicked, yes, I will take that role. So this is a concept that we've had sort of in the software for a little while. There's another version of it over here. When you're on the sign up form, you can toggle over to suggest, and in the suggest mode, you can kind of see who's done something lately, who hasn't, who's going to be away, and use that to make recommendations. But with this version, this was really actually more requested by Evie, who had seen another tool we have in here. This is the planner. So this is where the person who is feeling proactive, the member who wants to sign themselves up for several things several weeks in advance, can go through and sign up several weeks in advance, and it's going to give you a suggested role based on something you haven't done in a while. Well, this suggest all roles thing is sort of the same thing turned around. We're just looking at the agenda. We're looking at openings on the agenda. And what we're going to do, usually the way I'd suggest doing this is first try and fill roles with the members of your club, then send this out to fill in whatever the blanks are on the agenda. But for demo purposes, I'm going to set this out. And the selections here are all based on people who haven't filled this role in the last few weeks, because we don't want the same person speaking week after week or filling any other role week after week necessarily. So it's meant to add some variety to the picture, but also just to make it easy for you to click once and accept that role. When I submit this, it will come back with a log of everything so that I can see that I've already suggested all these people. And hopefully some of them will agree. If not, I'm reminded when I come back in to either, if I want to send it out again, I might send it to the same person, or I might say, well, they're actually kind of ignoring me, so I'll send it to somebody else. But something that might be useful to the Toastmaster of the day or the VPE trying to fill the agenda. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. That is a really cool capability, and I think it's going to make organizing our meetings much easier, much more straightforward in the future. Thank you very much for that, and all the work that you put into that. Appreciate that. Appreciate the tip this evening also. All right, let's move forward to the prepared. That was a prepared speech, but that's not an evaluated prepared speech. Let's move forward to the prepared speeches portion of the meeting. However, it looks like we've only got one speaker this evening, so it is the prepared speech of the evening. We still have a variety of roles supporting the activities this evening, and let's start with our one of the most essential roles, the timer. Carolina Ramirez. Carolina, what will you be doing as timer?
Hello, Jim. Today I will be keeping track of time for our prepared speaker, the impromptu speakers, and for evaluators. And at the end of the meeting, I will give you my report. Be careful with the time.
Excellent. Thank you, Carolina. All right. Let's see. How about both our counter and grammarian this evening? She's ambidextrous, and both roles are going to be handled by Sarah. Sarah, what will you be doing this evening?
Thank you, President Toastmaster Jim Barber. I will be the counter. As counter, I will be listening for all of the filler words, so, and so forth. Keeping a track of those. As grammarian, I will be listening for the word of the day. Our word of the day is privateer. It's a noun, and it's an armed ship that is privately owned and manned by a government to fight or harass enemy ships, or it is the captain of a government-sponsored pirate ship. So we want to be privateers tonight. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Excellent. Thank you, Sarah, or Sarah, I guess I should say. And now let's see. Toru. Toru is our chat monitor this evening. I love your mustache, Toru. What are you going to be doing as chat monitor?
All right. The role of chat monitor, as I understand from the meeting so far, because I'm not sure what is my role really is, but its role is to check the intercommunication between the members using this function and evaluate the efficiency of this function. That's my understanding. Back to Toastmasters of the day. Am I right?
Great. Thank you, Toru. Appreciate that. And we have another member who is ambidextrous, and I neglected to call on her for both roles earlier, so I will do it a second time. Our vote counter is again Carolina Ramirez. Carolina, what will you be doing vote counter wise?
I will be counting your votes for your favorite speaker and your favorite evaluator. I will put a link in the chat and you will choose your favorite.
Excellent. Thank you. And since we only have one speaker and one evaluator, the voting is going to be relatively straightforward. We will still vote for table topics rather, and you will be handling that also. Okay, I believe that's all the roles. So let's move forward to the prepared speakers, the prepared speaking portion of the meeting. Our speaker this evening is somebody that you haven't heard from in almost 5 minutes. Giving our presentation this evening, it's a non-manual custom speech. I believe it's 10 to 12 minutes. Is that right, David? Okay, cool. And let's see, a tour of the WordPress editor. I'm going to be hanging on this one. David F. Carr will present a quick tour of the WordPress editor and how you can use it to create a more impressive Toastmasters website or a business, nonprofit, or personal website. If you want to know about WordPress, this is the time to do it. Please hang in there and listen closely. Take it away, David.
All right. So I am going to take you on a quick tour of the WordPress editor. I'm sorry to hit you with 2 technology demos in a row, but actually it's kind of what I was looking to get practice with when I started this club because it's a professionally relevant thing for me. But I'm going to take you through techniques that you can use on a Toastmasters website, but not just a Toastmasters website. WordPress is used by all sorts of websites. The New Yorker is one of my favorite examples, a very professional publication, but it's a juiced up WordPress website. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how you can juice up your own website or even just your own blog posts or content that you create within it. And one of the main things I want to go over is the use of what's called the block editor. So if I go to this demo site here, I have some content laid out in columns. I have pictures. I have things with special background colors set out for emphasis, and I have a video down the bottom. And I'll show you a little bit about how you would set up all that stuff. And to start with, I'm going to go into the editor and look at this existing page. So this opens up in a sort of word processor format, or it's a word processor, it's a desktop publishing tool for the web, whatever you want to call it. One of the things that's different from working with Microsoft Word or something is we have this little button bar that floats around and follows us as we select different types of content. If I'm selecting a paragraph, a heading, or an image, it's going to give me different options, both on this button bar and then on the panel of options over to the right. And one of the things that's cool is I can upload an image, straight out of my digital camera or whatever, and I can alter this just through the editor to basically do some basic cropping on it. This is actually a relatively recent addition to the editor. Also, every time you upload an image, WordPress actually stores a few different copies of it. So there's a little thumbnail version, there's a medium-sized version, there's a full-size version. And I was showing you how I could square it off. I can also go into this little styles icon. It's a little half circle over to the right. And I can say that I want this to be rounded. So that's something you often see when people are showing the leaders of the organization kind of profile picture presentation. You can round something off. A lot of these things are enhancements that have come in just maybe the last year or so. A lot more flexibility. But also, I mentioned that I've laid some things out in columns. And part of what I want to go over is how you can do some basic layouts so that it's not just presented in a linear series of images and paragraphs and headings. And to see what's going on here, I'm actually going to turn on this option over to the left. So there's this little, it looks like a little series of descending stairs. This shows me the hierarchy of different elements that have been inserted into the site. So we have blocks. These are essentially referred to as content blocks, different types of content, but we can have blocks such as the columns block. Well, a columns block, this one has two columns nested inside of it. And then inside of the columns block, there is the other content, so we can see our image and our paragraph here. And so this becomes important when you create something that's a little bit more complex, seeing what's going on, how things are laid out, and being able to change that along the way. And I mentioned that down here we have the columns have some stylings applied to them. So what I did was I added a border on this. And this particular theme is set up to have Toastmasters approved brand colors automatically integrated here. So I'm picking the true maroon or the loyal blue to be the background wrapper around this piece of content. Again, just something for emphasis. Now, a lot of these are things that would have required, even just a year ago, would have required somebody with a little bit of coding experience, not necessarily programming experience, but there is a coding format called cascading style sheets that's used by professional web developers. And maybe you would have to do a little bit of customization at that level. Now, so much more of it is available for you to just customize through the editor here. And one thing that I wanted to show you is there's actually something called the site editor, where I can edit the entire layout of the site. So here I'm editing the actual template. So it's the header that's included on every page. It's the navigation section. And then I was showing you before something about columns, but here we have rows. Rows are sort of a similar layout technique, except they're designed to just space things evenly. So instead of defining specific columns, I can put 3 images in a row and it will space them out evenly. And it's doing that also with my navigation. And then I have a special little navigation thing here that is the social icons that appear on the site. So I'm not going to go through all of this in great detail, but once you have the concept that you can create groupings of things, you can apply stylings to those groupings, and we could also move them around. And so here, if I decide I want this image actually to be in this column rather than that column, I can move it within this hierarchy block, this document outline view. And I can also move it back so that I'm not completely messing up my demo site. But it is the demo site, so there's a limit to how much damage I can cause here. So let's take that from the beginning for how I would create something new. So I'm going to exit out of this specific page. And if I want to create something new, I can either go to Pages or Posts and choose Add New. Or up top, there's a menu that just says New on this black bar at the top. I can go to New Page or New Post. So post would be something that's more of a news item that I want to add to my site. And there's a creative title. I start putting in paragraphs. And then if I want to put in anything other than a paragraph, there are these little plus marks that show up on any blank line. I'll see a plus. Up at the top here on the left-hand side, there is a plus. And this is allowing me to insert different types of content blocks. So if I want to insert an image, I just choose image, and I either choose upload, or I can select something that had been uploaded previously. And so we can alter that and play around with it. If we want to add columns, I would do columns. And again, we can search to find the thing that we want. And it'll give me an option. I can either do 2 even columns, or I can do a wide one on the left, a fat one on the right, or vice versa. So I can choose these proportions. I could move this image into that column to get a slightly different layout. And just by building up from these concepts, you can do a whole lot of cool stuff. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. Enlightening. Great. I was a little distracted there because we had a question, but Graham withdrew the second. He asked 2 questions. He withdrew the second one. Graham, is your first one still valid?
The first one is still a question. Is there a storage limit with the images that you upload for your site?
For the Toastmasters?
Well,
I actually have not set one. Maybe I should, in case somebody goes crazy. But it hasn't really been my biggest concern up to this point.
and WordPress doesn't impose one?
Well, there's WordPress and there's WordPress. There's WordPress that you set up on your own hosting. There is WordPress.com, which is where you basically, there's a company that is the main corporate sponsor of the WordPress project. Even though WordPress is open source and lots of people contribute to it, there is one company called Automatic that does sort of the lion's share. They operate a service that is, you can think of it as being similar to a social network. You get an account, you get a blog, and you're off to the races. You can set it up for your business. And there are various upgrade plans. So I don't remember what their current limits are, but WordPress itself can certainly handle huge numbers of images and the entire New Yorker archives if you have the horsepower to support it.
Cool.
Great. Thank you, David. Andre.
Yes, David, so I have a question. Just out of curiosity, can artificial intelligence build a WordPress website?
There's a bunch of people playing around with that, as you might imagine, right at this very moment. So I know people have had ChatGPT write a WordPress plugin for them, for example, that did something. And it might not even blow up your website. So, or it might. But yeah, it's interesting. And I believe there are also some plugins that will do AI generated images for your blog posts and things like that. There's definitely stuff like that going on.
Great. Thank you,
Thank you.
David. Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Andre. Appreciate your questions. Carolina, Madam Timer, how did David do?
Very well. His speech was 9 minutes and 53 seconds. And if we include the questions, 12 minutes and 20 seconds.
Oh, either way, with or without the questions, he qualifies.
Yes.
Okay, pass your votes for your favorite speaker this evening. It can be either David, or if you like, David. Pass your votes to our vote counter, Carolina. And while you are doing that, I will turn control over to our topics master. We're somewhat limited on time tonight, Andre, but nevertheless, see what you can do with. Before I do that, though, I've got one thing that I need to say to everybody, privateer. Anyway, okay, now, Andre, take it away with table topics this evening.
Hey, me hearties. Thank you very much, Captain Jim. I'm terrible with making all them pirateers and privateers accents, so probably I stick with my Ukrainian one, which sometimes is just as good as all those different accents as well. And today I'm your table topics master. The theme all about pirates. Talking as a pirate, thinking as a pirate, drinking, eating, and of course, hunting for treasure as a pirate. The rules are simple. I have a number of questions that I'm going to ask any one of you, so no one is spared, not even David, probably. Please listen carefully, and when you're ready to answer your question, Carolina, our timer, will time you. We all experienced Toastmasters. We know the rule. We have between 2 to 3 minutes, Carolina? Yes, 2 to 3 minutes. Oh, 1 to 2. 1 to 2.
1 to
Okay.
2.
Just checking. So it's 1 to 2 minutes for your impromptu speech. And since we a little bit limited in time today, I propose we start with the first question. How would you explain what Toastmasters are to a bunch of angry pirates? How would you explain what Toastmasters are to a bunch of angry pirates? And this question goes to Sarah Idahan, our grammarian and our counter.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. What would I say to a bunch of hungry pirates? I would tell them, Toastmasters will fill you up. All of the things you wish you ever knew how to speak, you will find that in Toastmasters. If you're hungry for a new word, you can be a grammarian in a Toastmasters meeting, and that should fill you up. If you want to make new friends, more pirates to join your pirateer gang, Toastmasters is a great place to be. You also find some snacks. You can snack on laughter. It's got a lot of things to laugh about in the meeting. So if you are a hungry pirate, I would say, yes, come to Toastmasters. Get your fill of all the things that are available to you in Toastmasters. You can speak, listen, grow, learn, and yes, that will fill you up. Fill you up so you will be a speaker, you will be a person who can entertain others and just entertain yourself as well. Toastmasters for the hungry pirates. Arr.
Toastmasters for the hungry pirates. Arr! Really like that. Well, thank you very much, Sarah. Looks like you've been practicing for this evening. And the next question in our table topics contest. You are not happy with the captain of the Toastmasters Club on your pirate ship. You want to start the mutiny. What would you say to your fellow pirates? And this question goes to Andrew Byrne.
Thanks a lot. Toastmaster Andy Slamenko. I would say that Toastmasters has taught me a lot about inspiring speeches as well as persuasive speeches. I would spend the time crafting a speech that I could deliver to my other mates on the ship that explain why I was unhappy with the captain and what changes that I would hope that that captain would make so that we would all have a better voyage, more profitable voyage, and a voyage that everybody would be happier with. I would focus on those kinds of things. What's in it for them? What's in it for us? How the goals set by the captain are or are not being met, and how we can improve the situation. I would get feedback from each of those members and not undertake anything as drastic as a mutiny, which can lead to being strung up on the yardarm or fed to the fish. I would make sure that I had my facts straight and that everybody had agreed that the only course of action would be to get rid of the captain if the captain himself would not agree to appropriate measures that we all thought were reasonable. Back to you.
Oh, thank you very much, Andrea. Wow, and a very well thought speech in a real true Toastmaster spirit. Thank you very much. Very polite. I was thinking about mutiny. Yes, let's just do it. Well, let's think properly before we do that. I like that. Thank you. Right, and we're moving on. The next little story that I prepared, so please listen carefully. You are a cook on a pirate ship. You need to impress your captain and his officers with a Kingsley meal made out of a piece of cardboard, 1 kilogram of gunpowder, and a barrel of rum. What would you cook? A piece of cardboard, 1 kilogram of gunpowder, and a barrel of rum. What Kingsley meal would you cook out of those ingredients? And this question goes to Toru Mariam.
Will you repeat the question? I don't understand the second item you mentioned after gunpowder. What did you say?
Okay, first is a piece of cardboard.
Mm.
Piece of cardboard, just a paper, thick piece of paper, gunpowder and rum, a drink, a barrel of rum, a big massive barrel, or a keg.
All right, thank you very much for your very difficult question. I have no idea, but I imagine that I can make those ingredients out of these ingredients, maybe a very strong drink to energize the officers and to make them in the mood for fighting and in the mood for leadership, so that we can win the fighting. We can beat the enemies, whatever happens in whatever situations. And I really don't know in details, but maybe I will think of the way to make a strong and energetic drink to make things better for them, for taking the people to their leadership, or something like that. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much, Toru. Indeed, That was a really tricky question. In my view, you answered it masterfully. A drink, energizing drink, of course. You can make anything with a good drink of rum in your team. The next question I have, again, getting more trickier and trickier. So please pay attention, because I can call upon you. You have been on a treasure hunt in the open sea for months. Your team morale is very, very low. How would you motivate your fellow pirates? This question goes to Johnny Laidlaw.
We've been doing this for a while, privateers, and I know it seems like forever, but hope is not lost. I mean, after all, the further we travel, the closer we get to land and the closer to treasure. Now, I know that right now, ARG is the only thing that you can think of. And I know that you're trying to send me off this plank. But let me just say, who's the leader of the ship that's made for you and me? All right, fortunately, it was not me. So remember that this was not my idea. I was just the person who happened to say it to you. So this is what we're going to do. We're gonna step back so I can step away slowly from this plank. Then we're gonna climb all the way up into that bird's nest right there. And look, see, it's there, it's land, look, land. Now, who has that treasure map? Let's get going. We are on our way. Huh. See, Disney always helps to throw it in there when you need to buy some time. Back to you, our Table Topics master.
Well, thank you very much, Johnny. I feel motivated. Before I had a drink with Toro, now I'm fully prepared. So go ahead and sail and find some treasure. Well, imagine that. You are responsible for stocking the pirate ship with food. Hundreds of miles in the open sea, you realize that instead of 10 barrels of rum, you mistakenly loaded 10 barrels of soya milk. How do you explain this little predicament to your team? And this question goes to Carl Walsh.
Thank you for the question. The first thing I'd do is grow a beard like yours. And then I'd get a new hat because my head's too big for this one. Then I would get that big stinking fish behind Andrew. That should feed the crew for at least a week. But then we come to the soy milk. That was a mistake. So what do I do? What to do? What to do? I would explain to them that that is the milk of mermaids. That's it. They'll be knocking the door down to have a glass of that, a beautiful glass of the mermaid milk, something they've never had before. Then I'd get that cardboard and that gunpowder and that rum, and I would float the gunpowder on top of the rum. And then I would roll up little cardboard cigars and have them start smoking it and then drink the rum. It'll be the hottest meal they've ever had. I trust you. Back to you. Arr!
Oh, yes. I can feel that, Carl. Probably you've done it before. We're in good hands on this ship. Great, thank you. Okay. And I have a few more questions if the time is all right for two more. I just would like to confirm that with our Toastmaster of the day. Yes.
We have time for anybody except me.
Okay, then. Imagine you are a chief shaman on a pirate ship. What 3 objects would you take with you on a journey, and why? And as promised, this question goes to Jim Barber.
Just can't trust some people. Mr. Topics Master and me mateys, what 3 items as the ship shaman would I carry on board to take me through so that I could accomplish all the shamanic things that a good shaman is supposed to do? That is easy, because as all pirates know, the 3 absolute essentials are rum, gunpowder, and cardboard. Because if you've got those 3 things, you can make a meal, you can make a drink, you can have so much fun. You can explain what cardboard is to Carolina, because she may not know, but you can explain. So it's educational, it's nutritious, all kinds of things. Yeah, I will be the most popular shaman in the entire fleet, because I'm going to be fully stocked with cardboard, with gunpowder, and of course, the most essential of all, rum. Because if you've got enough rum on you, you can accomplish just about anything. And even if there's a mutiny, as I've heard scurvy rumors going around that they're going to conduct a mutiny against the captain, I'm going to break out the rum. So we're not going to have any more talk like that. And if anybody broaches the subject, they're going to be walking the plank. And that's the end of it, Mr. Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Jim. So 3 items, you can do most of the things with them. Brilliant. I see Carolina wrote down in the chat that she is going to search for the meaning of word cardboard and look for some pics. Excellent. And we have room for 1 more. Please listen carefully. You have just graduated from a prestigious school of pirate good manners. And your first assignment is to educate a team of bloodthirsty pirates on good manners. What would you say to them? And this question goes to Graham Carnes.
Mr. Topic Master, you scurvy dogs, I'm going to tell you what you need to do to be pirates, but you're not going to be pirates. No, that's why I've been to school to find out. I'm going to turn you not into pirates, but into privateers. Now, the difference between a privateer and a pirate is a pirate, we get caught, we get hanged. But if we're privateers, then we get gold, we get knighthoods, we become the people in charge. So all we need to do is... we need to be gentlemen. We need to be gentlemen privateers rather than scurvy pirates. We need to go out and take the riches from the enemies of those who've given us our letters of marque. We are, after all, servants of the king or the queen, rather than being scurvy pirates. You don't want to go out and be restricted to only having guns made out of cardboard and gunpowder and drinking rum. No, you want to be able to eat all of the foods that we've been told about that hungry pirates can be given. We want to be motivated to be the best privateers that we can, rather than being scurvy pirates. And if any of you disagree, if any of you can't see your way to becoming the gentlemen privateers that I think you should be, then I'll keelhaul the lot of you. Mr. Topics Master.
Wow, thank you very much, Graham. What would you say to a bunch of bloodthirsty pirates? Great. Well, my heart is, I enjoy these table topics. I just want to say thank you for the educational and for rum drinking, energizing, and cardboard, gunpowder, and rum. Those three things, I want them three things to get stuck in your mind. And next time we have table topics, let's try to come back to them again. Back to you, Jim Barber. Back to you.
Barber. Thank you, Topics Master Andre. Great set of table topics. And now let's see. Madam Timer, I believe you posted the times in the chat. I might have missed one. Did everybody qualify?
Everyone qualified.
Everybody qualifies. So my mateys, if you would please pass your vote for your favorite table topics response this evening to our vote counter, Carolina. And if Carolina happens to win, so be it. That sort of thing happens. Honesty is of course well known among pirates. But if you would pass your votes to Carolina, she would appreciate that. And now I've heard too many rumors of a mutiny going among the crew. And so I'm going to retire with my gunpowder, my rum, and a piece of cardboard. And I'm going to turn the remainder of the meeting over to our general evaluator this evening, which happens to be, let me make sure on this, it is Joni Renee Laidlaw. Joni, evaluate for us.
Arg, thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Don't worry, I won't let you walk the plank because we found the treasure. And the treasure we have today is evaluation. We're going to start off by asking our timer, how did we do as it relates to the speeches, or did you drop them in the chat because I don't remember hearing them?
Between 2 and 3 minutes, Joni.
And our speaker did qualify in his 12 minutes, so I know he is the best speaker for the day. And because of that, it's going to be hard for me to figure out who will be the evaluator, but let's see who is up for that. Carl
Walsh.
No, I'm aware Carl is the evaluator. I mean, who will win best evaluator? Carl, let's see if you'll win.
Well, quite frankly, there's not too much to speak about on such a fine presentation. So the first thing I'm going to do, a fine rum from Barbados that I got off a privateer one horrible Saturday night. Aye, the blood ran freely. So here's to you, David Carr. Now, Mr. Carr. First thing I have to say is that you had great visuals. Terrific visuals, very understandable. But I'm thinking, what if you started with a blank page and built something simple that was usable, and do that first, and then move to the rather complex page that you have set up and show us how the principles that you showed us work. That might be a better way to show how it does its thing. But one thing I want to really toast you for: no jargon. Thank you so much. I hate jargon. Even pirate jargon, it just shivers me timbers. It makes me want to walk the plank myself. I keel-hauled the last one that used jargon. That's really the only suggestion I have, quite frankly, because I found the presentation well done, very understandable. And if we just reverse the order a little bit, maybe it will sink in even more. Thank you so much, Mr. Carr.
When we compete against ourselves, the only thing we have to worry about is time. So I know Yes, you did get best evaluator today, but I'll ask our timer. What was the time recorded?
2 minutes and 10 seconds.
No need to cast your votes. Or if Carolina needs something extra to do, I mean, after all of that rum and cardboard and gunpowder, you never know, we might need to sober her up. Next, we are going to have our report from our grammarian, where the privateer is calling themselves out.
Thank you, General Evaluator Joni. We had 5 uses of the word privateer, if I'm not mistaken. Jim Barber, Andre, myself, Joni, and Graham used the word privateer. We had a lot of uses of the words and, had a couple of you knows, 1 or 2 so's. It seems to me that when we use and, or so's, what we're really trying to do probably is transition from one thought to the next. And sometimes we just need a little time to gather our thoughts together. So a good way to do that would be just to pause. And I know that's difficult when you maybe under time constraints, you have to get this thought done. We've got 1 to 2 minutes, 5 minutes. But sometimes if we just pause. Another thing, a game we could do is try to find words that are synonyms for those ahs and ums and ands that we're trying to say. For instance, and could say additionally, conversely, consequently, even so. That would take place of some of those ands and some of those ahs. We could say egad, golly, alas, jeepers. And that would take our mind off of the ahs and the ums and the so's and the you know. Back to you, General Evaluator Joni.
Thank you, our grammarian. Arg up in the bird nest. What are you watching, our watcher?
I'd be saying that there's a particularly useful use of background images here today. I mean, I genuinely like the Treasure Island book from David, and I like the placement of the Treasure Island book. That's because it is completely off to the side. It's not intruding. Whereas you will note, for example, that Blackbeard behind me, if I move to the center of the screen, he almost disappears. One of the things that we have to watch in the online environment is not only that things look good, but that they are not distracting. And I'd like to hope that we've been falling on the side of caution, although the hat and eye patch that Zoom has added to members, if we had been giving serious presentations today, they would have been less effective. Carl turned his evaluation into a pirate thing, and so that worked okay. If David had done that during his presentation, it would not have been as effective. So from a watcher's perspective, everybody did quite well today. Just be aware that even when we are theming as we are today, we need to sometimes turn off the backgrounds, turn off the additions if we don't want them to get in the way. Madam GE.
Thank you, me hearty. Arg counter to the plank. Who should walk it?
Okay, I think I probably put that in with the grammarian a minute ago. We had a lot of ahs and ums and ers and ands. And so we're going to keep working on that because we are Toastmasters. Do some pausing and think of some synonyms. Back to you, Joni.
I have a quick question for Sarah.
Yes.
Were those ers or were they rs?
Well, I didn't count all the r's because those were welcome sounds.
and to the only non-pirate among us, because they have a different role. What were you monitoring in our chat? That would have been entertaining during a pirate time, right? Somebody with a clipboard checking the discussions would have helped with mutiny. Toru, how was the chat today?
There are many exchange of messages using chat today, but one thing I want to say today is that it might be a good idea to present final agenda at the last moment to the chat, which we did it today. And it might be good in the situation where there are many absent members, sudden absent members, and we have to fill many vacant roles to fill. And then the same goes to the theme of the day, which we knew by chat. However, both are a kind of emergency measure. So that reminds me of the urgency, necessity that to prepare agenda with a theme of the day in it should have been prepared before the start, well before the start of the meeting. So that reminds me that we need to cooperate to make agenda completed well before the meeting. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you to our chat monitor. Always a pleasure whenever we do a theme meeting, especially when we get ARG into it. Is it ARG or R? Well, either way, today our pirates did a Disney Junior pirate version of pirating, but guess what? It worked. It worked very well. I love the fact that not only did we utilize the online space to get into character, but some of us went so far, shout out to the Toastmaster of the day, to actually get one in reality. Andre, I see you as well. Loved whenever we all contribute to a theme, and I like the fact that we utilized it throughout the meeting. It did add a good contrast to David's tip of the day and speech, because sometimes whenever we have very heavy topics, meetings can be, it helps to have some fun in between, because like the founder of Toastmasters, Ralph Smedley, said, we learn best in moments of enjoyment, and I can guarantee that we'll remember David's information more because of the contrast. I mean, next meeting, don't you want to be the ARG, R, whatever pirates say, counter? Great job, great meeting. Keep up the excellent work. My only tip, we need more people, because while a Toastmaster wears many hats, this pirate likes having one on sometimes at a time. And the more of us who are here, the more hands we have on deck. Hopefully not to swab it or to walk the plank. I know return control of our meeting. Wait, honesty among pirates first. Pirateer Carolina, who won Best Table Topics?
The winner is Carol Walsh. Congratulations, Carol.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, I don't think he's still up in the bird's nest, but here comes a treasure trove of info from our president.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Thank you to our Toastmaster for the day. Thank you to all of our members who were here today. Where were you to our members who weren't here today? Seriously, tonight I thought was a really good meeting. I had fun. We had a great presentation, a tips of the day from David, and then we had a great presentation from David as well. But it would really have been excellent if we had had a couple more speakers. We had the opportunity for everybody to give table topics. We had a strong evaluation from Carl. We had a strong general evaluation from Joni. We have lots of members. Now, I know that we all have lives, and look, I haven't been here for the last 3 meetings, so I can hardly talk. But if at all possible, if you're watching this on the replay, we'd love to have you here because you contribute to our meetings, and this meeting is all about all of us. Couple of things that we do need to talk about. One is membership. Please renew your membership. You can do it online. We've made that option easy for you. You can just go to the Toastmasters website and pay for your own membership online. Don't forget to send the club contribution to Treasurer Sarah. Or you can, if you want, just pay it all to Sarah and she will then pass it on for you. Also, the international conference has now been set for your fair country next year. So you don't have to think about traveling around the world. You can, well, most of your fair country, obviously, for Andre and for Carolina and for Toru and for me. It's not our fair country. I suppose it's not really your fair country either, Joni, but you get my point. It's in North America next year. Look at signing up for it. I'm going to be there. I have actually arranged accommodation in Anaheim for the conference, so I'm coming over and I'll try to make contact with everybody. But if you can be there, it'll be great. What else can I tell you? No, that's pretty much it. Anybody got anything they want to raise? Yes, David.
I just wanted to suggest, Sarah, I think a bunch of us paid ahead for this renewal period. I think I'm paid through March. So, but maybe you could just send out just something confirming or reminding people who have already paid, thank you for paying ahead. And if people, just so everybody is clear who does and does not owe money by the end of this month.
I was wondering the same thing.
I thought I had paid ahead, but then again, I'm never sure. So I'll wait to hear from Sarah about that. But yeah,
You're paid ahead and ahead and ahead and ahead. You're very much ahead.
Yeah. If you look at the Club Central membership list, it has right there when your membership is due and when it's been completed.
Okay.
Anyway, look, I've got nothing else. Has anybody got anything else? I'm looking at the agenda for our next meeting, and I notice that there are a number of vacancies. So please, this would be your opportunity to go to the website and put yourself down for something for the September 25 meeting. I'm just going to go take a quick look at it in the absence of our Vice President Education.
We just mentioned Mike Woodall did get one of those suggestion messages and agreed to be our next Toastmaster of the day. So
good.
It worked once.
It worked once. Okay, so I'm just looking at the agenda now, and according to this, he says waiting for never do things live. It always goes wrong when you do. No, it's for the 25th. Yeah, we've got lots of available roles, so please take up the opportunity to do something.
I put me down for speaker.